Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to AITB. I'm Amy Joy. Feel free to clap. All right. Thanks. I appreciate the love. All right. So we have a special guest tonight, Henry James Gonzalez, and I'm going to introduce to you the man who will guide you through this hour. His name is Tim W. Brown, once known as a minor god in the Chicago poetry scene. Tim W. Brown, everyone, right? Come on.
Yeah, well, I always wanted to be a major legend, but it just never panned out. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming out tonight. It is election night 2024. I don't know if you're all on pins and needles like I am, but clearly I'm not so on pins and needles that I'm not home watching the news right now. I'm here with you all and you all out there in Zoom land at Art in the Basin. Hopefully you had a chance to go out and vote today before you came out to Art in the Basin or before, you did other things tonight before you go to bed. So please, if you haven't done so yet, get out and vote. Although, I don't know, the polls are open till 9 in New York State, right?
9.
Yeah, so you have till 9 o'clock if you have not yet done it. And we'll be done before 9 o'clock, I promise you. So we'll let everybody go early or semi-early to go out and vote if they've not already done that. So anyhow, welcome once again. We have Henry James Gonzalez, as Amy Joy said before. It's not quite ready, but we'll bring him up here in a moment. He's raring to go, but we'll have him up here in a moment. Meantime, I have to show off my stuff a little bit. Whenever we have an election day, what comes to mind is the very famous line from William Butler Yeats. I have to find it here, but you've heard it. Right. This is what the contemporary world seems to me right now, especially here on election night. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Those are the famous lines from William Butler Yeats's poem, The Second Coming. Yeats, of course, being the modern Irish poet from the earlier part of the 20th century. So really talking about 100 years ago or more now. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. A waste of desert sand, a shape with lion body and the head of a man. A gaze blank and pitiless as the sun is moving its slow thighs, while all about it, wind shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come around at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born. Wow. The Second Coming by William Butler Yeats. That came from Wikipedia, by the way. I guess the poem has fallen out of copyright, it being more than 100 years old. And so Wikipedia can publish things like that, and not get into trouble and not have to pay royalties to anybody anymore. Anyway, now it is time to bring up our featured writer. Afterwards, we'll have, well, it looks like a short open mic. We have some open micers on Zoom and other open micers in the room. So we'll bring you all up in a moment. Meantime, let's introduce our featured reader tonight. Henry James Gonzalez is a longtime friend of Art in the Basin and is featured here several times, as well as up at Bethany Arts Community, representing us also at the Hudson, or what's that called down there now? Is it called the Hudson? The Dykeman Marina place. Yeah, yeah, with the Film Works Alfresco series. There we go. And so he's been with us a long time. We love him to death. Everybody, please welcome Henry Gonzalez.
No, I'll be good. Hi, I'm Henry Gonzalez, Henry James Gonzalez, if you want to go with the full name. And I've been going to Art in the Basin for a couple of years now, and it really kind of sparked up my love for poetry and just finding that need to express yourself in very healthy and cathartic ways. The poem that I'm going to start off with, 2 years ago, I went to DR for a trip, and it was during that time that Roe v. Wade got overturned and left it to the states. So I was a little ticked off about that. I was also going through COVID, so I had to write something a little messy. And it was also kind of inspired by this singer that I like, John Mess from Secret Band, and his sort of lyrics are always just very frenetic, random, and somewhat aggressive. So I kind of like channeled that a little bit and wrote this poem in response to that on my way home on the plane while I was pretty much dying of COVID. Um, okay, so it says, Shotgun seat says beating the time is impossible. Only 5 hours of energy last in the sails with cookies salted and dry. Toma, toma. Darkness obscures the path in the wrong direction. Prizes are awarded to those drunkards in waiting, sweating through bars that keep them from drowning in riches. Escaping sun, on the run for fun, forgetting intelligence, wasting your heart. Follow, follow for attention as memories wither. Even dogs have tails if they fail. Impaled through the skin, mosquitoes bite, sucking up rum and beer, even with no electricity near. Temptations rear their beauty to ask if they can hide while the Polaroid dries. Sun screaming, burning alive, spotting rain to try for short palms, selling trash for free. Everything's all right, or at least it will be. Controlling descent with bulls strapped to your back. Things get lost when you attack. Flies circle the living for smelling so tasty. Birds scream in the cage trying to find the exit. Retreat, retreat. There's this beat to return to the land of selective rights. Don't take these strokes of the pen to be demeaning, dismissing, or irate. It must frustrate to exist in a form that's denied its workings. Weapons of blood and bone must atone for this judgment. Shotgun seat says beating the time is impossible. All we can do is pump protected shells to make this home out of hell. And that's my first poem. Thank you. Yeah. Uh, who would be next? Oh my God, I'm next. Okay. Love that. All right. All right. So I wrote this one's called Honor. And this one is kind of the energy of that not everyone's perfect, and I'm certainly no perfect human being, and I've definitely made mistakes here and there growing up. I'm 31 now, so yeah. The times in my 20s are long gone. Uh this one is basically about like how do you sort of face yourself after you kind of messed around a lot and you come to terms with what you want to be. All right. Honor. We all know the age-old adage, death before dishonor. For those who prefer living with dishonor, I offer a revision. Honor comes to those who understand, who continually seek ways to improve, even when they've played shady hands. I believe in that ability to earnestly look in the mirror and say to yourself, I see our flaws. I raise you a challenge. From fields of doubt and uncertainty, reap what you've sown. Sort the chaff so new roots can grow. I promise you this, there will be storms. There will be times when you don't want to do the work or even exist. That's fine. The work will be there waiting. It's not going a damn place. Once you accept that, the first productive seed will grow, then two, then more. You've assigned yourself to whatever personal score you've assigned yourself to will balance and just. It's not that you can't trust. You simply traveled paths much too cluttered with dust. Self-forgiveness can be a drug, especially when self-medicated with other distractions that delay reactions only to disguise what you deny with multiple tries. What I'm saying is you can't hide from yourself, only discover more. To treat old sores. Eventually, you become the reaper of successful crops, enlightened by the knowledge that it's far easier to reap rewards when you keep your will alive. Through tempest nights, through empty days, through mornings filled with joy, through afternoons filled with gratitude. Death before dishonor. Except try first to live earnestly. Even if you stumble, have no direction, move slowly, acceptance is movement. I would never deny your aim as long as it had legitimate claim. And that's that one. Honor. Keep going. Oh, I love it. Okay. Okay, so one of the things I have always tried to avoid is nicotine. It's always one of those things that, it's a bad habit and I try to always avoid it. So on a positive note, I have been off nicotine for about 150 days again. Yeah, gotta celebrate the small things. But this was written when I was sort of like in the heat of it, really kind of going hard for it. And I just kind of wrote something involving tarot, involving like that sort of like feeling of just, you know, addiction, to be honest. So this one is called Phrases. Uh, Barely escaping my lips, pupils dilate. The weight back into my body, I stare at the wall in muted blue. The wind gently traces across my skin, filling my lungs with incentive. I can't look out this window anymore the same again. Schrodinger's tarot. What can be gleaned from reading probability? 8 ways to Sunday. Sorry, I don't want to ruin this. It's nothing against you, but a promise against me to never walk a path I've treaded foolishly. This is also new but familiar. Angels guiding me, telling me I'm free. I know better. Let the fade consume me completely. There are more important places to be. I wouldn't dream of it. Alcohol on the page, improving my vocabulary makes it make sense, I suppose. Running this led to the nubs. Yo sé, pero no puedo. They just want to quench their thirst. Wear your crown. Hear and listen. Get lost. Respectfully. This fool has horns. What are you here for? Make it special. If you do what you did, you'll get what you got. Immediately, the longest second. Absolutely not. What's the inverse of something so I can see it another way? Blood pushing to my fingertips. Let's find some new meaning in this. ¿Qué más? Really think about it. Hey, foolish man. And that's phrases. Now to kind of go into a more jolly sort of area. I do like the zombie genre. So this one is Villanelle, because this is all coming from my second book that I'm trying to publish with Amy. Working title is Arrival. Might change, but for now it's what it is. But this one is a Villanelle. Don't ask me what the actual rhyme scheme is because I did not write it down again. But this one is about zombies. I would dream of fighting a horde, running from place to place with Fuerza handing me a sword. Each new battle guiding my heart's chord, showing me how to pocket an ace. I would dream of fighting a horde. I would pray to my self-chosen lord to ensure my life just in case, with Fuerza handing me a sword. Gratitude in every water poured, in every meal sating tastes, I would dream of fighting a horde. Securing my bases, shuddering doorboard, this fight I must embrace, with Fuerza handing me a sword. I grab my tools and roar, no need to save face. I would dream of fighting a horde with Fuerza handing me a sword. And that's that Villanelle right there. Yeah. Thank you. So this is kind of going into the part where I just mess around with poetic styles. This one is a oh, let me get this right. Petrarchan sonnet, and this one is called Mente or Mind. The mind is of tremendous use, even when brought to cry. There's a great resilience behind the eye, one that can make the chaotic call truce. However, these workings can come loose. Why would I live a lie? Chemicals gone awry, imbalances profuse. Mira cómo esa canción suena. El ritmo es total. Tienes que pensar en lujo. No te ahogues, let me get that right. Ahogues en una espina. No es algo mal. And that one. It's pretty short. So listen to that song. Listen how that song sounds. The rhythm is total. You need to think of luxury. Don't choke on a spine or a bone. It's not a bad thing. And that's that one. Yeah. Uh, I think this is the last one that I did with random poetic styles. But this one is an ovilejo. Ovilejo, yeah, ovilejo. And this one's kind of about pep talks. So it's a little short, but it's also like, I don't know. I sometimes get a little sad. So like most of it is like, oh, a little nihilistic tip over here. But it's really quick. So, ¿de qué estás pensando tú? Solicitud. ¿Por qué todo es el mismo? Nihilismo. ¿A dónde encuentro mi paz? Capacidad. Y mi responsabilidad siempre ahí para usted. Para razones que uses. Solicitud. Nihilismo. Capacidad. So that one directly translates to what are you thinking? Solitude. Everything is the same. Nihilism. Where do I find my peace? Capacity. And my responsibility, it's always there for you for the reasons that you use. Solitude, nihilism, capacity. Yeah. Okay. This one is about a tattoo. I love getting tattoos. I don't know if you can't tell, but I got one over here on my wrist. But I also have one back here, one on my shoulder, one on my leg, one on my back. And I'm just trying to save up money to get more tattoos, honestly. Like I couldn't do it this summer, but now I'm gonna try to save up money for real this time. My next one I want to do is like a Zelda tattoo on my calf over here, or like a Pokemon one. I gotta figure that out. But yeah, tattoos. The pain is sublime as it starts with a small prick, then several, then many. It feels so right to mark the skin permanently. Frivolous to some, surrounded by held suppositions. It still feels good. The markings made by careful thought, translated from medium to medium. The end result is a sense of permanence that fades away with you year by year, until at the end, you remember and smile what the pain was worth. And that's tattoo. Thank you. How many do I have left here? Let's see. I have one, two. All right. Two more poems from my book that's coming out at some point in 2025. Fingers crossed. This one is Joy because I like metal too. So one thing you got to know about me is if you take me to a metal concert, I'm gonna jump in the pit almost immediately. My body is not built to withstand pressure like that at 31, but I will still try. It's always like I'll have like I'll jump in the pit and I always have to like do a temperature check. I'm like, is there anybody kicking? If there's nobody kicking, I'm gonna jump in. There's always one guy doing like crazy like flip kicks, and I'm like, I can't get kicked in the face. I'm sorry. Anyways, this one is called Joy. Okay. The opening band plays as the crowd situates itself. Buying and enjoying libations, only standing room, huddled together as one mass gathered for a singular purpose, to be entertained by heavy sounds, melodic singing, melodic screaming. A smile creeps across my face. It's been so long since I was surrounded by those like me who enjoy this setting. I rapidly down my drink as the bands transition. There's something I came to do, something I haven't done in a long time. With pleasant buzz, I head to the front of the crowd, descending like a king into the royal court where those like me are giddy with anticipation. Another honest smile dances across my face as the second band begins their ritual. Pure chaos, pure chaotic fun. People begin shoving, erratically moving in the pit like fighters. We take bruises and elbows with joyous glee to the symphony of screams and frantic instruments. Even those who fall are lifted up in solidarity. We're here to have fun and glorious chaos. This continues until the main event. I refresh with another drink as the cycle begins anew. All the songs we know and love brought us all here. Songs that on the surface seem furious, but layered with love. We all here cheer, cheer for our anger, cheer for our release. This is what we came for. This is what we'll leave with joy and peace. Okay. Whew. I have one more poem that's more sort of horoscope based, and I guess I lied by accident. This is actually another poetic style called an arcane string, and this one is basically centered around. If you follow me for a sec, I am an Aries Venus, and my big three. Well, let's start with that. My big three are a Taurus Sun, Taurus Moon, Scorpio Rising, and then Aries Venus. So this one was kind of based on that because I was like, what's my love style? It's very fiery, passionate, impulsive, I guess. So this one's that. Burn, engulf, set ablaze, bring calamity. For every note that charges out of your chest shakes my heart to sweet ruin. Born again in flame, it's the heat destroying my own heart. Quick, brutal, decisive, without remorse. Tremendous impact, shattering every weakness, inviting focused response to believe its goal, no faltering. Believe that this can be now, novel, returning with difference. Scorched earth arrives, new places for roots to grow, grabbing hold of new warmth, bringing fresh joy. The fire rests, at least until now, until fuel. Yeah. Um, I could read one more from my old book. I probably need my phone back though. One more. Thank you. Okay. Da, 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 da. Oh no, don't load on me. Okay, this one is all the way at the bottom. This one was the last poem I wrote for my book, and I thought oh, what the for this one or the old one? For the old one, the theme was kind of transitioning through life and kind of growing as a person, which I guess is a little basic, but the the overarching theme was life is full of transitory things, and you kind of just have to roll with it and just see where it takes you. So that was the theme of my old book. The theme of this one is sort of finding responsibility and joy within things that, sometimes can be a little aggravating and sometimes painful to deal with, but you deal with them and kind of makes you a better person for it. So yeah, that's that one. Thanks. Okay. Okay. So this one is a love poem. Um, so this one's called Midnight. Lit by a dit flame, the comfort of bodies nuzzle together, complement each other's frames. With synchronized breaths, sweet dreams that bounce between heartbeats and hums of the dark, flickering shadows against the wall let on that this room is not a solitary experience. A hand is lifted, presses against the air, making shapes that bear no deep significance. Here, leaned against the warmth of one another, the hand drops and resumes its inherent duty to hold, grasp, trace, pull in. The sky gently starts to rumble, taps on the window. A steady patter of rain begins to wash away any leftover remnants of the days past. The sky continues with its soft bellows, guiding all who hear to a deserved rest, holding, tracing into the recesses of this room, falling into each other deeper, deeper still. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. I love poetry. It's super fun. Yeah. Thank you.
Everybody, Henry Gonzalez, thank you so much for that. A couple reactions. First of all, I was quite impressed by the different poetic styles that you wrote in. I've never attempted a sonnet, Shakespearean, Petrarchan, or otherwise. Hopefully, I pronounced that correctly. I don't know. I'm from a Midwest, and we mispronounce everything where I'm from, so I most likely mispronounced that as well. Anyhow, very impressed by that Villanelle and anything. Which brings me to an announcement. Speaking of poetic forms, starting on December 4th and then a week later on December 11th, Art in the Basin is sponsoring a Zoom online workshop with poet Cheryl Fish. She did a workshop for us, I think, a year or two back. She's a City College of New York professor and an accomplished poet. Funny response on the chat, by the way. Yeah. You can't see that, but I can. Very funny. Thank you, Elizabeth, for that. Anyhow, Cheryl Fish is going to do a workshop dedicated to the form of haibun, which is a Japanese form of poetry that combines prose and haiku. So you could be a prose writer or a poet or a haiku writer and profit from this workshop. So do please visit our Eventbrite site, Art in the Basin events, and sign up for that. It's free, by the way, as all of our workshops are. The other comment I wanted to make about Henry's poetry was a line that struck me deeply. I know better. Did you remember that? That's just sort of like sums up in 3 words my entire, life. An approach that, might not have been the best approach, but that was the approach I took. So thank you for that. And finally, I was moved by the tattoo poem. My father was in the Navy, right? He was in the Korean War, and he came back from the Korean War, which was, well before I was born, obviously, with tattoos. He had tattoos in the inner forearm of each arm. One was a Navy, anchor kind of icon. The other was like an eagle military icon. And suffice to say, I was the only kid anywhere I ever lived whose father had tattoos. It was not something that men of that generation generally did unless they served in the military and especially the Navy. Anyhow, I've been told this story about when I was, I don't know, 3 years old, maybe 4 years old. And I was asked by an adult, so Timmy, what do you want to be when you grow up? And, most children that age say something like, fireman or policeman or, something like that. At least they did back then. I don't know what they say now. Maybe, internet content developer, I don't know. Anyhow, my answer was, when I grow up, I want to drink beer and get tattooed like my dad. My mother actually wrote this down. It's in some of these records of mine that, she collected and I inherited, So yeah, that is documented that I actually said that when I was 3 or 4. I have not, I do the drinking part, but not the tattoo part. That's what's happened here in my life. And I know better. Anyhow, so anyway, thank you to Amy Joy for hosting this event or co-hosting this event, wearing the Amy Joy shirt here, just to advertise the co-host, Amy Joy. We are Art in the Basin on Instagram, Art in the Basin on YouTube, which, by the way, we are streaming on live, and then there will be a video available afterwards, so please do check it out. And we are AITB Art in the Basin on Facebook. So check us out, become our friends if you're not already our friends. And you can always reach us at artinthebasin@gmail.com. And our events are always at Art in the Basin. Yeah, I'm trying to drill it into your head, Art in the Basin. So please do check us out there. Let's continue with the open mic portion of the program. We have a couple of, looking at the chat here, a couple of open micers on Zoom. We have at least one in the room here, I think. Sam. Okay. All right, we'll bring Sam up. Sam, by the way, speaking of workshops that AITB hosts and sponsors, Sam led a workshop, a 2-week workshop in September, right? October, early October. Went off fabulously. Anyhow, an old-time friend of Art in the Basin. Please, everybody, welcome Sam.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Henry. As I said to Henry, I haven't been here at Art in the Basin for a few years in a way. And Amy, why did I come? Came here, yeah. 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 Anyway, thank you, Henry. It was really good to hear you again after many years. Beautiful stuff. Good to hear you. This is a piece called Hips. A man walks into a room and sees his wife's hips. Not the hips they once were, but the hips they have become. Wide and flouncy, like beach waves full of foam and tumbled sand and sea glass. The room he walks into is air conditioned. He doesn't have a towel. It's square edged, painted. A dust speck floats near pictures of their boys in various school year photos. What were her hips like 20, 30 years ago? Desire is what dies and gets reborn, fills a room, is roomy enough. The bed shakes. The downstairs neighbor takes a broom to the ceiling. Knock, 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 bangs against the pipe in the bathroom. He wants attention. He wants quiet. The parkway doesn't stop. Cars incessant. Asphalt hips, manhole cover, telephone pole, bus stop hips, locust tree, hips that sing behind shopping carts, that lift laundry from soft white plastic basket, that help with ironing in front of Wheel of Fortune, Vanna and Pat in reruns. Can I buy an A? A for the times I've loved you, for me forgetting our anniversary, for our decades together, joined at the hip. A for thank you for saving me from loneliness, for those boys in the pics, for your charm and forgiveness, for your hips, L, your hips, your hips. I can read one more. For those of you in Zoom land, you may not know, but Art in the Basin was always a hard place to read at because you've got, you may hear it, like you've got the ambulances, the bus stop is right here, they got the train and just general Bronx noise. And then there's a working cafe going on. So they're making food, they're serving food, they're taking orders. So there's like so much going on here. And to try and find a way through that, to find a way to talk to an audience was a really wonderful training ground for me to learn. And I'm not saying I'm successful, but like you have to try to figure it out. It's hard. It's really hard. Thanks. I like the container of milk I throw every morning back into the fridge after putting some in my coffee. Not nicely placing, not gently putting back, but tossed, rough, from 2 or 3 feet out, monkey-like, with a swing and release, with dexterity, aplomb, because I can, because one needs to see if the algorithm works, if God is committed to his laws, if the milk will land where it should, bumping up against the seltzer and half-opened OJ, or if God has left us here on this lonely island to fend for ourselves. Thank you.
Everybody, Sam Turner, man, like I said, longtime friend of Art in the Basin and excellent poet, man. Every time I hear him, I'm just astounded by the quality of it. I really certainly am. And anyway, like I said, he led a workshop earlier. 5-time Brio Award winner. That's Bronx Recognizes Its Own. Awarded by the Bronx Council on the Arts. Who did? Poets and Writers. That is correct. Tonight's evening, and the featured poet that we've had tonight is with us tonight, courtesy of Poets and Writers. They love us at Poets and Writers, and we're grateful to their support. I can't help think that they fund us continually because we're in their minds, I think in many people's minds, a broke ass Bronx organization. But we're not broke ass. We may be in the Bronx, but we're not broke ass. But anyway, thank you so much for the continued support for several years now. They fund a lot of our featured performers as well as our workshop leaders. So thanks to them. We'll be back 2 weeks from tonight on the 19th. Thank you. I can't calculate that quickly. And my math skills have always been suspect. And who is our featured reader that night? Sarah Stern. All right. Wow. Speaking of award-winning poets, Sarah Stern is going to appear. Published at least a couple of books that have been well received, won awards. She does workshops herself, including for us, Art in the Basin, a couple of years ago. Man, what a treat. Sarah Stern, 2 weeks from tonight. So please do check us out then, live in the room here or on Zoom. Well, what's that? Okay. Amy Joy has an announcement.
All right. Well, as you know, Art in the Basin is kind of expanding, and we are collaborating with Crasdale Foods. So if you're an artist out there and you want to participate, send your submissions to artinthebasin@gmail.com. That's ARTINTHEBASIN@gmail.com. Come on, be a part of the Crasdale Food Show, art show, art spits at Crasdale.
What are they doing for visual art?
Art. Visual art.
Visual art.
Sorry, that was a horrible announcement. Visual artists. So any medium that can be hung on a wall. Sarah Stern actually was part of that show that was up in the summertime or early fall. I'm sorry. So early fall, I went to see Sarah Stern's show, and I was connected with Kristen Kuser, who is the director of the art space at Crasdale, and she's starting a show in February. So we are looking for artists of many different mediums to submit their stuff to Art in the Basin, and then we'll take it from there with more details to follow. Okay? Hope that was clearer. Thank you.
Thank you. And shoot, who knew that Sarah Stern did visual art? I didn't know that. Oh.
Is there a theme required?
No.
Poetry combined with visual art. Okay. Cool. Yeah, poetry combined with anything is awesome. I mean, that's my opinion anyway. There is actually one more announcement now. What is the date of the library event?
Up there.
On November 23rd at 2 p.m. That's a Saturday. Art in the Basin is sponsoring at the New York Public Library Spite and Dival branch the board game Dead Poets Rise, and it will be led by the game co-creator. So please do come out for that. It's free. It's at the library. We did it once before. It was quite a fun experience. You're guaranteed to write a poem of some sort by the time you're done with it, and no experience is necessary. So yeah, do please come out to the Spite and Dival Library, 235th Street, excuse me, and Independence Avenue, up the hill here in Spite and Dival / Riverdale. Anyhow, I think we want to switch now to our online people. We have to make some changes with the sound, so please do stand by. Why don't we hear from Susan? Is Susan, I hope Susan's cool and can read something.
I'm not, I enjoy humor, but I would love to be funny, but I tend to be very serious. Hmm.
Susan, are you with us?
Can you hear me? Yes, I am. Can you hear me? Thank you, Elizabeth Ann. I like your thumbs.
All right.
Okay, so I'm just going to read an excerpt of my writing. The dream from the day before the one of the forking paths. It is 2021, and I am in the library with a notice that it was emptying itself of books, that books would no longer be needed. All books were for the taking. The only book I wanted was a full-size atlas. The irony was that I had given the library some years ago my paper-bound atlas, and now I was taking from it a large, hardbound atlas, a book of maps, made possible by the travel of human beings on foot. I think of Alexander von Humboldt and my father mapping Navajo lands for Clyde Kluckholm as a PhD candidate before my birth. How does one take the reality of what exists before them and make something that others can read? How do my ordered words and images become an object unto themselves? How do words open up possibilities of travel, movement? I had been reading Claude Lévi-Strauss, his take on the development of writing in Tristes Tropiques before going to bed. Gregory Bateson, a biologist, saw the organizing activity in the living world as essentially mental, based in process. He developed his thinking from being interested in how patterns and relationships can be organized. He developed his ideas, quote, intuitively from his keen observation of the living world. He wrote a book, among others, with the title Mind and Nature. I have had it on my shelf for years and been into it on occasion. It interested me that he had been married to Margaret Mead. I had sat on her life as a young child and visited her in her office at Columbia after graduating from college, during a time I was so lost with no idea how I could ask for help or show what I was capable of. I had no idea of that myself. How could I speak of it to another? How I reach that space of being, the road there, the sublimation, the channeling of my possibilities for self-care gone awry from so many years of small spaces and silence, my inability to act based on my own creative self. Mind and body inhabit my path. The workings of the brain and how the body speaks to it and through it are one of my maps. Although they are only one, I am working on how patterns and relationships of this life I have lived can be organized as Bateson did. I rely on intuition and imagination. Much of my work is based on excavation, and the maps that were drawn from what was found digging deeply into my psyche with the help of visual studies. the words mostly found in books and in the family archive. A quote from Michael Ondaatje's English Patient from years ago that has been hanging in my workspace since I first discovered it. The deepest sorrow, he thought, where the only way to survive is to excavate everything. Mind travel is an integral aspect of an active life, movements in the mind through reflective thought. In the late 1970s, after getting my own darkroom, I became interested in the time travel necessary for the study of memory and its loss. I noted the white trucks with black sans serif lettering on the streets of Manhattan each time one came into my field of vision. They echoed my work with time moving and storage painted on their sides. I went to visit their office on the West Side Highway. They had hats with text, with that text on them. I was unable to ask for one. When I worked as the freelance bookkeeper for a court reporting business in the Empire State Building in the 80s, one of the legal cases was Time magazine suing Time Moving and Storage about their name. Imagine time being the property of one organization. Corporate arrogance. Imagine time being a brand. Another aspect of mind travel is the places we travel to and through in our dreams. Dreams sometimes show us where we are going, most often based on where we have been. They are the beautiful tangles of our entire past. Where we have been is one of the critical necessities of mapping in order to excavate memories. Excavation does not rely on time. Recently, I did some online research on defense mechanisms. The notes I took were fruitful. One was the understanding of the possibility that my caring for others was an act of sublimation. Sublimation, they said, was one of the, quote, healthiest defense mechanisms. I liked that, as we tend to like when published words tell us something we do is healthy. Of course, published words lie, as do human beings, thus the need to trust instincts and our own carefully acquired knowledge. So,
I'm sorry. We have other people who are coming on. So
okay, that's good. That's good.
Cheer for Susan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nothing.
Are you muted on your keyboard?
I don't think so. No, I'm all the way up.
Okay. Thank you so much, Susan, for that. Sorry, I'm looking at some weird screen stuff here. So I guess our next open micer who's online here is Jay. Jay, are you doing something for the open mic?
He's just here to listen, I think.
Just here to listen.
That is correct. I'm just a listener.
Okay, thank you.
Jay is just a listener tonight. Thank you so much, Jay,
Yes,
for
I'm
tuning
just a
in.
listener.
We love listeners. We think that our work ought to go beyond writers and to all, like, basically Bronxites. So
I'm a Bronxite.
thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Please do continue to follow us. I know you live in the neighborhood here, and so we really appreciate your support. I guess finally then, we'll bring aboard the Elegant Ivory Duo. There was a question from Elizabeth about the theme or the sort of the requirements of the art exhibit and for people who are submitting. Diverse voices is what the answer was to that question. So if you have a diverse voice, please do send your artwork in.
Right, Elegant Ivory Duo.
We need to get on Elizabeth's computer tonight.
Right.
Mute on the keyboard and mute on the screen.
I don't know.
Okay, this is what you do. You do this, and you do this. Okay, now,
Okay.
can you hear us? You guys can hear us, right?
Okay.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah, we've been here and with Art in the Basin since early 2020, when the pandemic took place. So we're poets, but we're also cabaret performers in the city.
Yep.
And we're going to do, Halloween is over, but not in our minds. So we're going to do a parody that I wrote on a very famous Walt Disney song from a very famous Walt Disney movie. And Elizabeth is going to be wearing one of those interesting costumes. And it's not too long.
He's going over to the piano. Let me know. Okay, 1, 2. When I pee upon the stairs, after hacking up some hairs, when I pull upon the carpets, things get thrown. When I scratch a scratching post, people smile at me the most. Then I scratch at Mom's pot roast. Then things get thrown. Why can't I eat with the family? When they dine way up high, it's stinky stuff in a bowl on the floor for me. They call this food? Not even a shrimp. When I'm finicky and won't eat, they feel bad and toss me treats, which I squish on Mom's love seat, especially when I'm in heat. Wow. Then things get thrown. Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. When I'm finicky and I won't eat, they feel bad and they toss me treats, which I squish on Mom's love seat, especially when I'm in heat, baby. Wow! Then things wings. Get through. Thank you. Thank you. What? No cat calls? That would be perfect.
The elegant ivory duo. Everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
And like the cat mask,
Thank
you
you.
know, like Halloween was just this week. There's masks, there's cats, there's black cats, there's masks. Thank you so much for that.
And
I'm
the cat man dude.
Cat is, you know, very difficult. What can I say? Never lived with a cat before, but I don't get them. They don't get me. What can I say?
You have to look at your contract for the
I heard in that
clause.
song is, you know, compounded many times by the cat I live with. It's like, you know. Anyhow, thank you again, everybody tonight, for coming out to Art in the Basin. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We do this every other Tuesday with Sarah Stern. So please do check us out then online or here in person. So let me turn it back over to our co-host with the most, Amy Joy.
All right, we're back, and Henry James Gonzalez is going to do our benediction. Come on, Henry.
On your keyboard, unmute.
I just want to thank everyone for showing up. I want to thank our sponsor, NAB Joy. I want to thank Tim W. Brown. I want to thank Sam coming through, everybody. It was a great time. So this is how we usually end these sort of events, with a nice little poem written by Amy Joy. And loud. Okay. Yeah. This one is called Lead Love. And if you can at home, please just follow along. Love at the helm. Take me to an unseen realm. In it, I'll dwell under sacred spell, waving until your gaze sets still. Love, lead the way. Thank you so much. Oh my God. All right. So on a 3 count, you're going to say love, lead the way. No? Let love lead. Oh my God. Sorry. All right. On 3, let love lead. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Let love lead. I got it that time. All right.
Henry James Gonzalez, everyone. You can find his first book, Points of Transition, on Amazon. Yeah, there you go. All right, Tim W. Brown, right? Woo! Let's hear it for the host he is really the host with the most. I can't do this. But if you're here with me in 2025, I like to put the lead first because you're in the driver's seat. This is your life. Make those good choices. I speak to myself mainly because I know better. All right, so we're going to start with lead and then say let love. Okay, so en deux, trois, lead, let love. That's right. Lead with love and let that love in and out. Good night, everyone. Ciao.